Let's look at paragraph 11. Reading down, we have intellectual property rights and then move on to consumers' opinions and how many politicians and scientists think that these opinions about GM foods are not rational and are emotional. Looking through the list, we can see that question 13 is relevant, with words such as this group or groups think, too much attention is paid to scientific breakthroughs, which is a paraphrase of genetically modified organisms and additive. And this is not rational, as a rephrasing of irrational. Then we need to match this to a category. We can see that this is not consumers or farmers who have this opinion, but politicians and scientists. So the answer to 13 is D, neither. If we look further in paragraph 11, where we see some information about ready-made products for consumers and how their motivations are perceived, we move on to the consequences of this, which is that labelling and certification allows consumers to express ethical concerns using their purchasing choices. Scanning through the statements, we can see that 11 is a paraphrase. Identifying and authenticating systems is a paraphrase of labelling and certification, and express their concerns relates to express ethical concerns through purchasing choices. And purchasing choices is a paraphrase of action. Now we need to match this to a category. The statement is talking about how consumers can express their ethical concerns. And so the category is B, consumers. Let's now read through paragraph 12. We have science and technology as applied to the area of farming and the labour force in agriculture, and the possibility of their work improving in quality. The paragraph then continues with examples of this. If we look at the statements, we can see that 15 fits, with science and technology working in different ways as a paraphrase for focused scientific developments, and making farm work more pleasant, more productive and less tiresome as a paraphrase of a more positive work environment. Then we need to look at the categories, and the category is obviously A because it relates to farm workers. Okay, so now we are looking at the last paragraph, at paragraph 13. We have the fact that business as usual, that is, continuing in the same way as before in relation to agriculture and food, is not possible. There are consequences, that is, socio-economic issues that threaten world peace, and the fact that there are consequences for agriculture, in that only 2% of the world's population produces food, and 12% have no job and live in slums. If we look at the statements, we can see this relates to question 12, with the current way relating to business as usual, and no longer acceptable relating to not possible anymore. For a number of reasons, relates to the areas mentioned in the text. Now we need to match this to a category. The use of the term for some relates to the fact that there is an imbalance of both producers of food and consumers of food. So the answer to this is C, because both are affected.